Today's podcast features one of our amazing Admingrads, Toby Elmore, the Director of Student Affairs, Business, Library, and Director of Summer Programs within the Commack School District. Take a listen as Toby discusses life in administration and ways administrators and educators can highlight Black history.
Black history it is American history. So it is grounded and rooted in everything about this country. So yes, we have a specific month that kind of focuses on, um, the celebration of Black history and Black achievement in February. But it's important that it becomes every month, everyday dialogue. So our younger generations always know, and contextually they know where it fits as well. It doesn't just fit in one month. It needs to be spread out throughout the history lessons, because there's always some kind of tie into Black history, whether it's inventions or the struggle or overcoming or whatever it is. There's some tie-in to Black history information that needs to be shared throughout the history lesson. So it's a very important piece that needs to not only be looked at in a 1 month span, but overall throughout the coursework, throughout the education process, starting at a young age, so they understand, and it becomes just a part of the American culture, and not just isolated to a 1 month period.
There are so many different ways that teachers can incorporate it in their lessons. Do you think there are any, more effective ways that people can, comprehend Black history? Do you think that it's great to use like different audio podcasts or books in lesson plans?
With the use of so much technology, I think it's endless on how you can infuse the importance or the um, what Black history is all about in lesson planning. And again, I think it's more of a interdisciplinary um, method that I think that needs to happen for students. That it's not, it doesn't always need to be isolated. It needs to become interwoven into what we teach across the board. And when we break it apart so much, it continues to leave things separate. So when we learn to make it a part of and interwoven into our daily and our educational process, then I think it makes it a stronger um, understanding of how Black history fits. I think for me growing up, I think I remember it being very isolated. It was, this is Black history, and it's never been, this is American history and it's inclusive of Black history. It's like it's been two separate pods. Yes, there are some times when you have to pull it apart and break it down so you understand certain things, but at this point in time, in this phase, and with all the tools we have, it needs to become more of a free-flowing conversation, a free-flowing understanding within the context of history, and where it fits appropriately.
I love that answer about it being interwoven into everything. It should be just like a science, like a math, something that we talk about every single day, like a regular subject. That is an amazing answer. And how do you celebrate Black history as an administrator? And what are some things that administrators can do? I know teachers do lesson plans, but what are some ways that administrators can celebrate Black history?
I think it should be something that is utilized as a celebration. We do have the month to focus on different aspects of African American history, and use that month to promote and to celebrate the differences and the achievements and the accomplishments, and provide teachers and students with programmatic things, whether it's musical or whether it's art in the arts. What we do is, we make announcements a lot of times in the beginning, at some point, a couple times during the week, each week, and highlight. I like to try to highlight a lot of maybe lesser known African Americans who have made a contribution to our country in a major way, that people are like, oh, I didn't even realize that, I didn't understand that they were a part of that. So depending on where you are, um, we haven't done a phenomenal job of educating from the lower grades all the way up. Some areas do it a little bit better, depending on what school you're in, and the demographic in your school may change that, but it's something that should always be a part of it. And the biggest thing I could say now, I think, is how do as an administrator, how do we support our teachers? I'm going to talk to you from a secondary level idea is that um, there's fear right now. The fear is that fight, that clash with the CRT word. That it's the fight. It's that, do I teach this? Do I say this? Is this opinion? Is it not opinion? And there's such a a uh, a tough situation for teachers because they don't want to come in and say something that gets parents all upset and everything else. And now that fight is should they be teaching that in the classroom? Is that CRT? Is that just real history? Because there is such a imbalance of what Black history is, and it's because it's not interwoven in all of our American history. This is why we have that clash of, should we be teaching this? Should we not be teaching that? What perspective are we looking at it from? So we need to support our teachers, provide them with great guidelines and information that says, go ahead and teach this. You're the professional. Go. This is the information. You are correct. Go teach this. Go educate our students because this is real. This is history, and don't be afraid of what comes from that. Because then, as administrators, that's what our job is. Our job is to support the teachers to say, go ahead and educate that. And we need to stand firm and say, this is what history is. So that one, we have to understand it so that we know we're telling them what to teach and how that information is being transponded to the students.
I want you to give some advice to, let's say there's a teacher out there that wants to go into administration, but just want some words of encouragement, or maybe they're scared of the coursework, the course load. They might not be too fond of the whole entire process, but they're entertaining that idea and want to go on the same journey that you have. What advice or what would you say to them, and what would you want them to remember?
Our first advice is if you want to get into leadership, that's something you have to want to do. All right, because it's a big change. It's not the same as teaching. There are teaching moments and there's things you teach, but leadership is different than teaching. So make sure that's what you want to do, because that's what you have to understand, that there's a complete flip. There's a change. You're on the other side of the coin when you're in leadership. It's great that you have the teaching knowledge and you remember what it's like to be in the classroom, and you can bring that to your leadership skill set. But understand that you're making a change. So you're coming out of the classroom a little bit different, and you're going to be doing things different inside that same like construct of a school building. Once you make that decision, you say, "This is what I want. This is what I want to do. I want to affect education differently from a different lens." Then go full go, jump in with both feet. It's very difficult to go in with one foot and try to hang on the other side. I'm like, I'm not sure. So once you make that decision, go all in. Um, I think it's great. We need different mindsets. We need different lenses. We need different mental models to come in and continue to push leadership forward. So it's a great career change. It's a great opportunity for leaders to come in and reshape how education is post pandemic, because we all see that education has been flipped upside down, turned around, and everything else since the pandemic. We're all like, we're sitting here on a Zoom now. This might not have happened pre-pandemic. We would have either had to have been face to face. So we've learned things from it, and it's just a great opportunity to come into this field and continue to boost education forward. So jump in with both feet, go full force, and allow yourself to learn and hear from those that are teaching. The site program is fantastic. They do a wonderful job of really taking your mental model, shaking it up a little bit, and giving you new lenses to put on so that you can see things in this educational process very differently. It's a wonderful program. Soak it all in. I hope, I'm not sure if it is yet. I hope that they go back to the cohort model where you're in person with your group. Now that we're back in person more, that was just a major piece for me. I know, coming in, just being with like-minded professionals who wanted to make that jump, who were saying, okay, we're jumping in with both feet, and we want to make positive change, and we're gonna go and push each other and learn from each other and support each other, and create that PLC, that professional learning community. That's just a wonderful thing that like this site program really is a foundation of it and pushes. So I highly recommend anybody who's interested, definitely take a look at the coursework. It is not easy, but it's very doable, and it's something that's going to change you positively. Whether you end up deciding to stay in the classroom or you decide to take that leap and something opens up and you go into the administrative world, it's going to make you a better teacher. It's going to make you a better leader. It's going to make you a better person for going through it and sticking through it and going down that road.
I want to extend a very special thank you to Toby Elmore for joining me today and sharing so much insight and knowledge on life and administration and Black history being American history. It was truly a pleasure. And to keep up to date on everything Cite, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Cite Online. That's CITEONLINE. And you can follow us on LinkedIn as well. Till next time.